it was Wilson telling my parents, oh, everything's okay. My parents trusting Wilson because, again, he's an authority. He's this godly man.
Pastor, yeah.
He's the pastor. And I was never asked proper questions. No one properly interviewed me. I sat down in a room with Tom Garfield and both my parents. And Tom Garfield asked if Nance had ever kissed me. And Nance had not kissed me. That was one of the few things that he had not done. And I think that was intentional. I think that was so that Nance could say to people if they asked, I haven't even kissed her.
Huh. Oh my God.
So he's not lying. He's playing with his words.
He's playing with his words.
Well, this is Jim Nance, so logic and trickery this is totally
within his character that would be the way.
Yes.
And I fully think that was orchestrated and purposeful. He did not kiss me so that he could say that. And
that's
even though he had sexually assaulted me on multiple occasions beforehand. So
So Doug knew. Doug should have reported it. I mean, many times over at this point. Like, there are many adults who have failed you. So to me, looking at this and having watched all this happen and knowing I also was young and naive.
And nobody asked you. Like, they went with Jim, or they asked you the one question, were you kissed? So you were, you weren't even sure, like, people, I mean, I'd imagine, cared much about what you thought. They got their answers, and so they're on with their lives.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember... Oh, I'm sorry. But actually, purity culture tells us to, so we wait for them to ask us the question. We answer dutifully, and then all these adults failed you, and you were just waiting for them to come rescue you and do the right thing. And it's not your job to solve this. Yeah,
and it doesn't take a lot, and I think I said this in one of my tweets recently, it doesn't take a lot to convince a scared 18-year-old to be quiet about sexual assaults she's experienced. Like, that's pretty easy if you want to keep, to intimidate. And all they had to do was not ask me questions. And I was very willing and would have told them everything. And even in that meeting with Wilson that my parents had, so we had first the meeting with Garfield and then the meeting with Wilson, where Wilson basically told my parents not to stress. It was all fine. Nothing's happened. My parents brought me to that meeting because they assumed that someone would ask me questions and that they would, that Wilson would want to talk to me, or that someone at the school would want to interview me and actually get to the bottom of what had happened. And that was not the case. I sat outside in the auditorium. They had their meeting and they finished their meeting, and Wilson walked by me, looked at me, kept walking, and it was just that she's the problem, and what an inconvenience. I wasn't, there was no attempt to try to get to the bottom of what was actually happening. It was a very willful ignorance. So Wilson can say that, oh, I didn't know that he was assaulting her. He should have known. He should have asked the question, because all he needed to do was ask the question.